What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? Matty P here with another episode of Steelers Warm, the show that likes to put you in the minds of Omar Khan, Andy Weidel, and Mike Tomlin as they look at together a winning roster in 2024 and beyond, a roster that can compete for a 7th Lombardi trophy. All right, well, the Steelers have brought in Van Jefferson on the cheap. We'll get the final details about all those deals probably by the time this video has come out, but recording this on my Saturday afternoon, it is your evening, or it'll probably be 1 a.m. by the time I'm recording this on Saturday morning in Pittsburgh. But the Steelers bring in Van Jefferson, a guy out of the Rams, played a few years there from the 2020 draft class, comes in to aid George Pickens, Calvin Austin in the wide receiver room, the plus-crunch guys on the futures contracts. Allen Robinson was cut to free up the money, but they might bring him back by all accounts. There's other moves they're going to make at wide receiver. They're probably going to draft someone. There's a few more guys still out and available. As I record this, I'm pretty sure DJ Chark, who I've talked about a lot, is available. But I thought, why did they go out and get Van Jefferson? Now, I couldn't, again, it was a bit like the video that we've already put out where I went to go grab some comments from Omar Khan. I spent ages trying to find it, but I know Mike Tomlin in an interview complimented Van Jefferson from the Rams for route running a couple of years back. Kind of interesting that he did that. But anyway, I knew that Mike Tomlin was familiar with him to the point that when someone asked me a question, I think it was Jennifer, one of our subscribers, asked a question about who they should go after at wide receiver in the comment section of a video that we did a couple of days ago from Shannon and White and I for the Steelers Global Perspective. I put Van Jefferson because Mike Tomlin has made comments about him before and he's still available. He got traded last year to the Atlanta Falcons, finished out the year there, end of the rookie deal, became available. So I thought we'd look at him by comparing him to 5 other free agents who are all available in this round of free agency. Some have been signed, some have not. That is Chase Claypool, the Steelers pick, the first pick in the 2020 draft for the Steelers at pick 55, 2 spots ahead of ahead of Van Jefferson. Devin Duvernay, who I really liked, came out of Texas, played with the Baltimore Ravens. He just signed a 2-year, $8 or $8.5 million deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's worth noting. Yeah, 8.5. Then you had Laviska Shenault, who is still available by all accounts. Last played with the Carolina Panthers. He was taken, I think he was drafted into Jacksonville, actually, off the top of my head. Darnell Mooney, who just signed a 3-year deal. I think it was like something like $37.5 million with the Atlanta Falcons. So that's a huge deal for him. That he moves on there in terms of that move. And I think it actually ended up being a trade, and then there was a trade and sign. Anyway, he's definitely, I know Darnell Mooney's moved on to the Atlanta Falcons. And then you got Jalen Reagor, who was drafted into the Philadelphia Eagles, where Kenny Pickett's gone. And he has just signed a deal with New England. He's coming back on a 1.292, so basically vet minimum plus a little bit there. Yeah, sorry. Darnell Mooney signed a $39 million deal, just confirm that. So yeah, it wasn't 37.5. And then you've got, of course, Van Jefferson, who joins the Steelers. Now, let's compare these guys to see if the Steelers get value. Is it a bad thing? Is this guy a wide receiver 5? Is he a wide receiver 3? Well, let's assess it. So he's played the most games out of all these guys, 1 more game than Darnell Mooney, so he's been a lot more available than everyone else. Obviously sat behind Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham Jr., sat behind Puka Nacua. So he's really never had a chance to be like the guy. Yeah, there have been injuries, but he's never had a chance to really get that rhythm. Equally, played with Matt Stafford, played the last year, I think it was Jared Goff as well. So, just a guy that's probably never really deeply found their feet there. They've also got Hybe, or he'd be their tight end that's received a lot of attention as well at times. They had another tight end as well that was a big receiver. So it's not as though Van Jefferson has had every opportunity to be a top performer. But look at AV, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool's mainly off the first year in the NFL with the Steelers and the way that they used him with Ben. But really, Darnell Mooney and Claypool, the only ones with a better approximate value. That's that statistic that Pro Football Reference like to do, where they weigh people's performance against everyone else at their position. So over the course of the last 4 years, Darnell Mooney has the highest, Chase Claypool second, Van Jefferson third. Overall receiving yards, Van Jefferson is second there by about 49 yards ahead of Laviska Shenault. You look at yards per reception, Van Jefferson has the most yards per reception with 14.2. Now, we will look at that. We'll go down and drill into that a little bit because there are a few differences there for him, but at least we can say That's what his average is. Gets off the line of scrimmage, gets wide, gets open. They're all important things. He also has 10 touchdowns. Darnell Mooney only has 11. Some of that's quarterback play, that reason why. Chase Claypool has 13. We know some of those receptions as well came with the Steelers through Ben and through definitely being almost overused at times. He's not a guy that's going to give you rushing attack ability. We're not going to go into that because he's just nowhere near on the statistical outputs there. Isn't a punt returner either. So that kind of, it is what it is. But he has won a championship. Remember, he was on the LA Rams as they won a championship. All right, let's go to overall targets. Van Jefferson has only had the fourth most amount of targets. Remember, he's got the third most amount of yards. And when you look at touchdowns, he's also got the third most amount of touchdowns, despite only having the fourth most amount of targets. And when you look at the target difference for him, the closest bloke to him is Chenault, who's had 14. Claypool's had a whole extra 107. So he's had a whole extra 50% more targets, over 50% more targets than Van Jefferson. And Darnell Mooney has had even more than that with 360. So again, Van Jefferson has produced with what he's the balls that he's had. He's caught 113 balls overall, only fourth most in this group. But as I said, third most in yards, most yards per reception. His catch percentage is a bit lower though, only 54.6%, which isn't great, let's be honest. But it could be worse. It could be Jalen Reagor. It's also, look at when we go down and drill in a moment to average depth of target, those sorts of things, where the defense is playing on him, it's a little bit different to where Duvernay and Laviska Shenault are being schemed open in the slot, etc., playing in multi-tight end sets as well. You look at yards per target, though, Van Jefferson, 7.7 per target. Now, remember, that kind of makes sense with the 54% and the fact that he's got 14.2 for average yards per reception. So that's huge as well. When we look at advanced receiving, so this is a little bit going deeper and drilling deeper into the statistics. Total yards before being caught with the ball, Jalen Reagor's third on that. Van Jefferson is third on that list. So the balls, like his average depth of target is going to be a little bit higher compared to most people. That's 14.2. So that's key to note there. You look at broken tackles. He's not that sort of guy. He's more of that route runner. That's what he's coming in here to do. You look at the drop balls as well. Only 11. That's kind of cool. That's a lot better than Chase Claypool's 16. Darnell Mooney's 15. Although Darnell Mooney put in some interesting positions by Justin Fields, and Laviska Shenault's 13. So his drop percentage is high at 5.3%, but there's not a lot deliberating this 0.2 difference between Claypool, etc. Look at snap counts overall. He's only played 40% of his team's snaps throughout the last few years. He did have a knee injury that I think sidelined him for about 6 games at one point, but it was either 6 games or more. But I might be correct. People can correct me on if I'm wrong there. And the only other key stat was that with Claypool and Jefferson, both allowed 10 interceptions on passes when targeted. That's something to keep in mind. But overall, Van Jefferson keeps it pretty close with Claypool, Duvernay, and Shenault in terms of the quarterback rating when they are throwing the ball. But again, remember, look at the depth that he's being thrown with. He's going to be marked up on that defense. He's going to be coming into that range with both the safety and particularly a free safety and a cornerback as well. But for the cheap and compared to what some of these other guys have basically signed with Mooney and Duvernay, Van Jefferson, remember, and Claypool at the time of which I'm publishing this video has not been signed by anybody as per Spot Rack. When I looked at them, I mean, it's pretty good actually. Like when we all think about it, like it's pretty cool. So yeah, let me know in the comments. What do you think about the Steelers signing Van Jefferson as their third, fourth, maybe even their fifth wide receiver? I like it. I like a route runner. I like someone that can compare with George Pickens in that regard. But yeah, you let me know in the comments. If you like the show, hit that like button. If you're not a sub of TDU, consider becoming a sub by hitting that sub button, the bell icon, and you'll get all the notifications when our videos come out. As always, go Steelers.